John had shared that they have a corporate venture capital like group as part of his organization, but there's really no interdependence with the rest of the organization. None of those insights get shared, et cetera. So like if you're in that brand management insight role, maybe you're even the GM of a business, and you have a corporate venture capital group, you have an M&A group that's primarily focused on startups, like thoughts and ideas that you guys have for tapping them to make sure that insight is coming back to the base business as well. Is that just, Dave, to your point, proactively building the relationships, or you set up like share outs? Like how can the brands and existing like operating units access those insights?
Yeah, I think it's showing interest on both sides. I go back to a weird parallel, but back in 2003 when I started on at P&G, I asked a question about, well, the voice of the customer, like how do we know what people are saying back to us on our products? And I found out that the brand marketers never went and talked to the customer service people. Go talk to the 1-800 lines and everything else, and just find out what people are writing back to us. And I just reached out to my counterpart over there. They said, we'd love for you to come over and spend a day and just jump on the phone, listen, and hear. I think that same activity of how can the brand marketers reach back with the VCs and build those relationships? Because, Luke made the point earlier that there is so much activity going on in a corporation that it's really tough for that single person sitting there doing corporate VC to know all of the activities going on across the corporation. If you raise your hand and say you want to help, you can bring great insights of what the corporation is doing and really get that connection. It's one of the reasons, like I called out our friends at Nestle as an example in predicting the turn, because when they staffed their Silicon Innovation Outpost, they staffed it with people from the corporation that knew how to go back in the corporation and find people and find who to engage. And that's super valuable because that's how you get action to take place, et cetera. So you want to do those type of things and just raise your hand. And I think you'd be amazed at the sharing that could end up happening by doing that.
Yeah. Luke, at ZX, how do you guys share what you learned back with the mothership?
For sure. So totally, that back and forth is necessarily like always a challenge. Like the number one thing that I see works best is just like adding value from the get-go. So, I have a really close relationship with our logistics and supply chain team here in North America. With those guys, like I've gone into their office in St. Louis and sat with them all day. I've said, look, who are you working with that you think is interesting? Let's fly them in here for like a super day. Who am I seeing out in the market that I think could be like selectively bringing you companies that are very clearly validated by other corporates? You start to kind of start looking at the things. And frankly, these people are better they know what's happening in the logistics and supply chain space better than I ever could. They've been doing this for 25 years. It's like the absolute killer people you would want on a VC team. So I think if, those same relationships exist from a direct to consumer lens and from a, marketing lens and, back office manufacturing warehouse lens. So to me, I think I've realized how intelligent all of these people are and how much they know the markets that I'm interested in. So if I can go to them and say, look, what are you seeing? And then let me selectively bring you companies with a very clear reason why. Hey, I think that Leaf Logistics is a company we just invested in. I think that they're doing awesome stuff. They're connecting groups of corporates together to do backhauls. We see this as an open area. You said that an area you're interested in is reduction of exposure to the spot market in trucking. This seems to fill that need. I do that very selectively, like one a quarter for things that I'm really interested in investing in. Because what you don't want is just to be like, hey, here's my cousin's startup, run a pilot with them.